Good afternoon, members of Clairemont, Terrace, citizens of Orange. I'm Deputy Chief Gerard Long, Orange Fire Department. And we want to have a fire safety demonstration for you. This is the perfect time for this kind of event. It's getting cold. We have a lot of things going on during the season. And we want to have a brief demonstration for you with CPR, how to perform CPR, how to properly use a fire extinguisher. And we want to open up dialogue with the citizens about fire safety during this winter season. So I would like to acknowledge Councilwoman Jamie Summers Johnson for putting this together with the fire department. She's been doing a fine job with working with the fire department in the community on community education as far as fire safety. So without further ado, I would like to pass the mic to Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Greetings, everyone. I'm very happy that we're able to do this. October is usually the month that the firefighters are able to go into the schools and help people out. When I first became a councilwoman, we had a really, really big fire, and unfortunately, people didn't make it out. And I just think it's so important to let you know simple things that you can do in your home to keep yourself safe. I'm pretty sure all of these firefighters want to go home to their families every night. And if we could do our part as citizens to make sure that we have our extinguishers and all the things in place, we can be a better city. Our fire department is an outstanding department. I say this and I mean this, they're always ready to do community things. I can call them literally yesterday, in a second. My son was having a play date with his class at Metcalf Park. And I thought these kids are meeting each other for the first time, many of them. And I said, Director Douglas, can you get a fire truck over here? And he literally got a fire truck over there and did some fire safety with the kids. We know kids play with matches. We know kids are very, into things that they see on social media and YouTube. So that's 2 days in a row our fire department has come out and helped our city. So, that's not something that happens in every city. Sometimes you have to schedule things far in advance, but in a moment's notice, they're always ready to come out. And I was just saying their PR stuff is so great. They always give bags out. They always give things out. So a round of applause to our fire department, fire director, and everyone. And right now we have 2 female firefighters, and I know one of the little ones, the little one there was a fire chief for Halloween. So she was all of your bosses. And I asked her if she could drive that truck, and she said she probably could with some assistance. So without further ado, who am I passing it to? Okay, I'm passing it back. Thank you. And thank you, Clairemont Terrace, for coming out. I'm glad that your block association is coming together. That's going to stop a lot of crime that goes on because you know your neighbors. So this is just one event of many that we want to try to bring the city, and I'm the person that bridges the gap between you and the city. So we're going to try to plan other things when it's not so cold. All right.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Bear with us. I know it's a little chilly out here. We're going to have a good time. So first I want to call up firefighter Arroyave. He's going to demonstrate CPR and how it's properly done. So I'm going to pass the mic to firefighter Arroyave. You want to do it out?
Yeah. Can everybody hear me? Yes. All right. Again, thank you for having us here today. This is your Orange Fire Department. We're here because we want to speak to you guys on a one-on-one basis. Any questions, concerns you guys might have, you can hold it towards the end. I'm going to try to give the presentation as brief as possible because I know it is cold. Right now with COVID, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are getting sick, ill to the point where they are passing away. What we want to do for you guys today is give you the basic knowledge in what to do if, God forbid, someone in your house does go into cardiac arrest. How do we start? What is it that we're doing? What is it that we're looking for? And try to make the situation as calm as possible because it is going to be a very stressful situation, okay? We have 2 mannequins here. We have a pediatric mannequin and we have an adult mannequin. I'm going to start off with the adult. I'll explain the differences because there are 2 differences. The type of compression that you do and the amount that you do. Just to give you a brief background on myself, again, my name is Firefighter Arroyave. I've been an EMT now for 10 years. I worked for University Hospital for 5 and just different departments all around. And I'm just very happy to be able to come and bring that knowledge here to the city of Orange and become a first responder, come out to you guys whenever you guys do need help. So we're going to start with our presentation. Has anyone ever performed CPR? No. Has anyone ever taken a class on it? All right. So we have the basic knowledge of it. We all know the basics. You're pushing on someone's chest, right? But how do we know when it's the right time to do it?
When someone's choking.
Okay. Well, when they're choking doesn't mean that they've passed. They just, unfortunately, they can't breathe. Eventually, it will lead to death, correct? All right. So what we want to do is first identify what is going on. The person's unresponsive. They're not answering me. Sir, sir, sir. Again, they didn't answer. Really quickly, try to check for a pulse. If you don't know, you'll feel a throbbing in their neck normally, okay? So we notice that they're not responding. If you can be there with someone and someone's there with you, you're going to first tell them, dial 911. If we don't, what ends up happening, we're going to be doing compressions for a very long time and no one's going to show up. So we're actually doing nothing at that point. If you're in a building that's equipped with an AED, also ask that person, hey, go get the AED, bring it. I'm going to start CPR. Again, we touch the person, we try to get some type of response from them. They didn't respond. Now we're going to start CPR. What you want to do is take your dominant hand. If you're a lefty or righty, I'm a righty. So I'm going to take my right hand. My left hand is going to go behind it. I'm going to use with the bottom part of my hand, the palm. I'm going to go right between the nipple line into the center of the chest. And I'm going to start compressions. You're going to do a 30 to 2 count. Now, unfortunately, because of COVID, back in the day, you would give 2 rescue breaths. That's no longer the fact. Anyone that's unfortunately in cardiac arrest, you're going to assume automatically that they do have COVID. That's how you have to think of it. So as much as you're trying to help them, your safety and the people around you is very important. So instead of giving the 2 rescue breaths, we're going to reassess. See if we got a pulse. If you don't feel a pulse, you're going to continue CPR. Again, very simple. Between the nipple line, we're going to do compressions till we hit 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All right, and now at this point, we're reassessing. There was no change. Now, I'm going to go and do another set of 30. What's going to happen after a certain amount of time? I'm going to get tired. I'm going to get winded. That's why it's good to have someone with you. If you can, you're going to offset and try to get them to do some compressions. After a while, if you continue to do the compressions and you're getting tired, it's like basically you're not doing any compressions. They're no longer effective towards that person. All right? Again, we already called 911. Now an ambulance is going to show up and they're going to take over. Hopefully within that time, what you did was you saved this person some time to be able to resuscitate it in an ER or by the ambulance that's coming. Now, that was the adult. There's a difference with a pediatric. They're smaller torsos, smaller body all around. Instead of using the palm of your hand, we're going to use a 2-finger method into the center, and we're going to, same thing, compressions. You want to roughly say it's about a 2-inch compression. Now, unfortunately, right in the center, there's cartilage. When you do a compression, you're going to feel like you broke something. If you feel that, don't be worried. That's very normal. Again, we're going to continue the same compressions until we hit the 30, reassess, and continue it. Now, with a child, it might be a little bit different. It might not be as exhausting, so you might be able to do a couple more rounds. Again, I know you're trying to do what's best for them, but if you feel like you're no longer effective, don't be ashamed to ask somebody to step in and help you out. Now, that was just a brief explanation of CPR. Does anyone have any questions?
You mentioned, you said AED. What's an AED?
An AED is usually a box that they keep in either malls or public areas. What it does is an electrical device that's going to try to pick up a sign. Now, some people think that you attach that on and it automatically is going to shock you. That's not how it works. It's constantly reading to see if there is some type of irregularity, some type of electrical activity. If it senses something, it's going to send that shock. It's not like in the movies that they just shock and the person's still dead. That's not how it works. There actually has to be some type of rhythm or some type of, they call it quivering. The heart's going to be quivering. It's going to be shaking. The shock is going to try to reset it. So that's what an AED is. It's like a little box that's just going to send electricity.
What does AED actually stand for?
Electrical, automatic electrical
Device.
Device. I apologize. Oh. Yes, ma'am.
What age do you go from the pediatric technique to
I apologize. I can't hear you.
At what age do you switch from the pediatric technique to the adult?
All right, that's a very actually good question. For pediatrics, it's newborn all the way to 1 year. You're going to get that toddler stage. Usually a toddler is going to be considered an adult once they hit around 13, or they call puberty. Some children mature a lot quicker than others. So if you see someone with facial hair, things like that, I would do just adult compressions at that point. You're going to go a little bit harder.
What are you actually doing when you do CPR?
You're basically mimicking the heart. You're pushing oxygenated blood through the body, continuing all the organs, the blood, everything to keep it going until actually someone can come in and do more for that person. Yes, ma'am.
When do you get an indication that you never give up? My grandson worked as an EMT. They never gave up on a person who they thought was dead, and he came alive. What kind of indication do you get?
Well, we look for what they call obvious causes. If unfortunately a person's been passed for a very long time, they're very hard. Their chin is stiff, they're cold to the touch. They've been gone for a significant amount of time. Also, obvious signs would be some body parts decaying. If a person's in the house for a very long time, you'll see the body just start to expand, gases are exchanging, so things are changing in the actual person. That's usually obvious signs. If you don't have any obvious signs and the person feels warm, you're just going to assume that the person unfortunately just came down, and you're going to start CPR on them.
That's good.
Anyone else? So real briefly, this is actually an AED here. This is the one that we have on all our fire apparatus. Very, very simple box. It opens and it actually starts speaking to you right away.
Maintenance required.
All right.
Continue rescue. Stay calm. Follow these instructions.
So it's going to lead you step by step what to do.
Is called now.
All right. You would open up the pads. There's two set of pads.
Patient's bare chest. Remove or cut clothing if needed.
On the actual pads, it will tell you where you're going to place them. It's usually one on the upper right side of your chest and then one on the lower rib portion. You want the conduction to go straight through across the heart. Any other questions?
Is an AED something you recommend people have in their households, or is it not really necessary?
I would say if you could afford one, absolutely go for it. They're very, very expensive, but it can save someone's life. So the price of someone's life is worth anything. Unfortunately, that's the best answer I could give you. If you can get one, I would absolutely recommend it. Sometimes you can find more affordable ones, but it's not a must. But if you could definitely get one, I would recommend it. Anyone else? No? I appreciate everybody coming out today. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the presentation, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Firefighter Roy Bay, for your CPR demonstration. At this time, we want to do a demonstration on how to use a fire extinguisher and share some information with you on that. And I would like to call up Firefighter Smith so he could demonstrate how to properly use a fire extinguisher.
Need a mic? No, I'm good. Good afternoon, everybody. How we doing today? All right. So first, I'm Firefighter Smith, and I'm here to give the fire extinguisher presentation. This is a setup that we actually got for the Orange Fire Department. This is not a real fire extinguisher. It actually has a bit of a laser pointer in here, and it's used to extinguish this mock fire that we have set up. You're going to be able to see it. As time goes on, the fire starts to grow. Has little sound effects. We're able to use this to be able to train not only with ourselves, but be able to show the community the appropriate way to be able to put out a fire. And at times how long that it takes for you to actually get everything out. All right, so first off, has anybody ever had to use a fire extinguisher? No?
I have one, but don't know what to do with it.
All right, so we're all good cooks here. That's great. That's great.
That's like that habit. I love it. I love it. Like that.
All right, so the first off, with the fire extinguisher, the main thing is you want to have it in a place that's easily accessible. So I know a lot of times people just throw it underneath their sink, behind all the cleaning products, or on all the plastic bags, so you can't even get to it. So if you did have an emergency, you want to make sure that you have this either mounted on the wall someplace, or somewhere towards the beginning of that cabinet that we all have underneath the sink, so you could grab it in a hurry. The fire extinguisher, to make it easy, we have an acronym that we use to be able to figure out what you need to do, because in a panic, people get a little confused. You start doing stuff that you really don't mean to do. The acronym we use is PASS, P-A-S-S. All right, so the P stands for pull. We want to pull that pin and at the top of the fire extinguisher. That allows us to move this lever up and down to be able to actually do something. The A is we want to pull out the nozzle and we want to aim. You want to aim at the fire that you want to put out. S, you want to squeeze. Squeeze that handle that we already pulled the pin out of, so we can actually get something to come out of here. And the last S is sweep. You want to sweep along the base of the fire to extinguish the whole thing. So I'm gonna ask one of my firefighter friends to come out here.
Firefighter Jahad Green.
Put the pen back in. Yeah, I hate y'all. Whatever. All right, so we're gonna go through all the steps that it's gonna take to get this fire out. All right, so what's the first thing that we want to do? Pull that pin, John. What's the next step?
Aim.
What's the S?
Squeeze.
And the last one?
Squeeze. The base of the fire. Put the fire out.
I can change the difficulty of the fire, so I'll mess with him a little bit. All right, so basically that's all that we have for the fire extinguisher. Be sure if you ever have to use it, you still want to give us a call, because with that fire that you may have extinguished comes a lot of smoke and other things that you want to call us. We have industrial fans that we can use to get all that out. Make sure that everything is safe in the house. Make sure there are no other problem areas that you guys have. Fire is very tricky, so it could have moved around a lot in that time. So you might think that you have everything out, but there might be some things that you still might have that could be an issue. So please make sure if you ever need to use the fire extinguisher, you still give us a call. Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you see the fire department come in, and I guess this is not true, but on television, they come in and they tear up your house. And I want to know, is that really true? Because sometimes people are afraid when it's a small fire to call you guys, because you come in like gangbusters, tear up somebody's house, and it's a little baby fire. So is that really true?
It depends on the case. I will say that I'm probably the most destructive one on our tour. And I try my best to be nice when it comes to smaller situations. We don't want to make holes if anything isn't necessary. We do have thermal imaging cameras, so if there's something in the walls, we can actually see it through the wall before we actually have to make any sort of hole in anything. We have to break anything. So we try our best to relieve the problem without actually breaking anything. But you know, sometimes there's situations you can't really help, and that's when we have to use some fun tools.
So I have to make sure to say, don't send firefighter Smith.
No. I'll be good.
I can honestly tell you, I had a fire in my kitchen, and I was shocked when it came out, and things on the heat before they even and like you said, these thermal imaging, they was very, very clear.
Okay.
I was shocked. They did an excellent job. Very concerned. And as far as I was concerned, with all the fire departments I've dealt with, Newark is the one that takes place.
How many fires you had?
Orange is truly
Thank you. Thank you.
Y'all can give them a hand.
Thank you.
Two questions. Sure. One is like, given the size of most of the houses on this block, what's the recommended amount of fire extinguishers we should have? And two, what's like the expiration date? Like, what you be looking for to make sure they're still like viable, that they're still good?
Okay, we only recommend that you have the one in the kitchen, correct?
Yeah, we have
in the basement.
You should have a fire extinguisher on each level.
Okay.
The fire extinguisher should be serviced every year to make sure it's functioning properly.
You should have a tag on the handle. It should be like up in this area on the handle. Also, you could take a look at the meter. That meter will give you a good idea of how much pressure is actually in the fire extinguisher. As long as that needle's on the green, you should be good. But still, if it's like, 15 years old, you probably just want to get a new one anyway, because that needle could still be saying it has pressure in it, but once you squeeze it, nothing might come out. So
all right, so there should be a fire extinguisher on every level of the house, and make sure you're looking for the pressure should be in the green.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. I got a few more things. I know I got some hand raised.
I just wanted, it came up in a council meeting, and I just wanted to let the residents know, I wanted to explain. I brought up the fact that I called 911. My baby was having seizures. I didn't even know he had seizures, right? So automatically I called 911. My call went to Trenton because I was on a cell phone. So we've been trying to tell residents to call for emergency from a landline, that they'll get there faster. But a lot of people don't have landlines, but you don't know that you should be calling from a landline. So I just wanted him to go into that. And also, people are calling the actual firehouse.
Yes, I wanted to touch on that, Councilwoman. When you call from a cell phone, there's like an extra line of person that call has to go to before it gets back to Orange, because it's a cell phone. So you do want to call from a landline, because that'll be a faster response. One less person that the message has to go to. So we recommend don't call the firehouse. Always call 911. I know in the past you've probably been giving out certain numbers to call, but we have a whole new phone numbering system at the firehouse. But in addition to that, if there's any emergency, don't be afraid to call 911 from the landline with a faster response. Obviously, if you don't have a landline, you're forced to call, from your cell phone. In regards to the fire extinguishers, we have this training to teach you how to use it for small fires, but we want to just let you know that we're the firefighters. We don't want you to put yourself in a situation where you're trying to put a fire out and it's not working, and you could find yourself in harm. So please, if you do have a fire and your fire extinguisher is not working, please call 911. We'll come and make sure everybody gets out of the house. Everybody was in elementary school and you had a fire drill, correct? Yes. And everybody got out. They went to a meeting place, and then you had to account for everybody. The same thing goes for in your home. Fire drills at schools once a month, I assume. Fire drills in your home should be at least once or twice a year, just so everybody knows. So when you change your batteries, if you can, in your smoke detectors, you should be practicing on your fire drill. And one of the things, couple things I want to touch on. Fire extinguishers. Do we have a special fire extinguisher, a white extinguisher, special K, class K extinguisher specifically for kitchen fires? One thing people think we got to put water on every fire. Not true. If you're cooking with grease and you get a grease fire, please do not throw water on that fire, because it's going to spread and somebody could get burned. Try to operate your extinguisher that you have, ABC. If you don't have that, go out to Home Depot and purchase a Class K extinguisher and get it mounted in your kitchen. You can put the lid on here.
With the extinguisher, you have to, so you recommend it on each floor. What's the location? Is it near a door, near a window? How's the height? You got it mounted on the wall?
The fire extinguisher is a safe location that you can, a nearest location where if something does happen, that you will grab it. So if you want to have, if you're cooking in the kitchen, you want to have a location at a safe distance where you could grab it, where you could use it in a possible kitchen fire. If you need any further information on that, you can always, I could give you the fire prevention number, and the fire official could give you more pertinent information on where to put them at. But you should have a red extinguisher, should say ABC on it. You should have one on each floor. And then in the kitchen, we recommend the Class K extinguisher. And these items you could you can purchase from Home Depot. Any other further?
Fire detectors that you'll put them in once you get them back.
Yes, the fire department does install smoke detectors. You have to call and schedule with us, and we'll come and install your smoke detectors for you. We don't have I don't think we have the combinations yet with the carbon monoxide. Lydell was asking me about some carbon monoxide detectors. Basically, they go in the same locations as your smoke detectors. Carbon monoxide is a big thing because it's colorless and odorless gas, slightly lighter in the air. So you want to make sure you have those detectors in your home in the common areas, outside of bedrooms, in the kitchen. So if you're cooking and your carbon monoxide alarm goes off, it's the same drill. Call 911. We'll come to your house and investigate. Yes.
You have any literature with the recommendations for which ones to buy?
I believe.
You just said, I didn't get it right here, but
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
any literature, right, but what you just said.
Yes. I'll be able to provide some literature after the event is over. I'll give it to Lydell and he could pass it along. Just one thing. Some people are less fortunate and they want to heat their home with the oven and the stove. Please do not do that. You can have an old stove and cause carbon monoxide poisoning. At high levels of carbon monoxide, it could be fatal. So that's why you want to make sure you have your detectors. Just little basic things like your Christmas tree. If you got the old Christmas lights, you might want to look into getting the LED lights because they don't produce any heat. You don't got to worry about your Christmas tree catching on fire if you want the real tree. Little stuff like that you need to think about during the holiday season. Okay? The heaters, the portable heaters. You want to plug your portable heater directly into the wall. One of the things that we find at fires is that people are using multiple extension cords trying to plug it into a heater. All of the power that heater needs is so much for that extension cord that it heats up and melts and it causes a fire. So any portable heaters, you want to plug them directly into the wall. And we always recommend that if you do purchase a heater, any type of equipment, always go by the manufacturer's directions. Take a few minutes just to read through that little brochure to make sure you're being safe. Okay? I'd like to bring up Lydell.
Thank you so very much. Folks, before we break, first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I've been trying, myself and my wife Deb, been trying to figure out ways to make some connections in our block. We only have about 22 houses on this block, but I do know we have some folks who've lived in this neighborhood for 40 years. And some folks just got here. And I think that especially given the time we're living in, making connections with each other is really, really important. And so in an effort to do that, we started doing some virtual meetings, trying to be, put safety in mind. And so I would just ask, but before we break, like if this was good for you, you got some good information, we're looking to do more of this to make sure we can spread good information across our entire block. We're a one-way, one-block street. We should know more about each other. At the very least, you should be able to say hi and say the person's first name. I think that's the right way to go. And so I'm just going to ask before we break, if you can just get me, if I don't have your email address, if I don't have your phone number, I'm not going to share it with anybody else but the people in the block, just to make sure that we can stay connected. And I want to also really thank Jamie Summers. She's been so supportive of what we've been attempting to do. And I'm looking to do another quick virtual meeting before we go into Christmas break this Thursday. Usually they're about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. We break it down into information what's happening broadly in Orange, then we'll talk about our neighborhood, and then any support services that are being made available for the township. We'll share all that information on that call. And that's pretty much it. It's just another opportunity for people just to connect and get to know each other a little bit. So this Thursday at 7 p.m. will be a Zoom meeting. If you don't know how to use Zoom, I'll come by your house and show you. It doesn't take any time, but that will allow us to just kind of stay connected until we get to a place where we can really do something like a block party, which I'm really looking to do once the weather gets better and we finally have a vaccine that we can share and everyone feels safe to connect one again. But that's it, pretty much, folks. I don't think there's any other information you have to share.
Real brief.
Okay. Thank you.
If anybody has any questions about what we talked about or you want to talk about fire safety even further, after this event is over, I'd like to share the fire department phone number with you so you can call up and speak to somebody. We can talk to you more about fire safety. In addition, I just wanted to get us all to look at the new fire engine we have over here. Put right here. Engine 3. That's our new fire engine used for fire protection in the city of Orange. I'd like to thank Mayor Warren, all the council members, fire director, for allowing us to purchase this vehicle. Just so you know, this holds 500 gallons of water. We have water inside of there. So we just got it. Looking forward to getting 2 more vehicles. And I just wanted the citizens, if you want to take a picture, you know, we can line up, you know, with social distance and take as many pictures as you want. Thank you very much. Oh, one more question. Twice a week, sir. And twice a week, sir, and this morning. Yeah. We take care of our equipment in the fire department. Yes, sir. Councilwoman Summers Johnson, any last words? I would like to bring up Mayor Dwayne Warren, City of Orange.
Good afternoon. How's everyone?
I guess you don't need the mic.
Fire department do all right? Yeah. I was thinking about letting them all go, but we should keep them though, right? No, publicly I want to thank them for all that they do. Their job is to be at the firehouse and get prepared for emergencies, but they think that it's a community service that they come out and make sure we share with the community, know what the resources are, and help in any way they can. I was so saddened this year we couldn't do the Thanksgiving dinner that they always do at the firehouse, but they still found a way to package goods and get them out to the community. So kudos to the Orange Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, citizens of Clairemont Terrace. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.